Call on. You've been questioning God, wondering why it's taking so long. But let me tell you something He whispered in the Spirit. It's all planned for the end of April. What you thought was a delay was actually divine precision. You're not late. You're right on schedule for a supernatural shift. You've been fasting, praying, crying in secret. Doors seemed locked. Answers felt distant. But God has been setting a stage. Not a moment is wasted in the kingdom. This isn't random. The delays, the silence, even the setbacks, they've all been part of something greater. By the end of April, you'll see what He saw all along. God doesn't operate on your clock. He operates in seasons and set times. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. That verse isn't poetic filler. It's a divine blueprint. Everything under heaven has a time. That means your breakthrough has a time. Your healing has a time. Your promotion, your release, your restoration. It all has a scheduled appointment in the calendar of God. And He said it's coming at the end of April. Trust that it's not a guess, not a wish, not a random hope. It's a governed moment. It's heaven's strategic release aligned with divine timing. God is not impulsive. He is intentional. The frustration you've been feeling, is it because God forgot you? It's because your spirit senses that you're close. You can feel the contraction before the birth. You're not stuck. You're being held in place until the gate of timing swings open. The enemy wants you to panic, to give up just before the moment, to abandon your post while God is aligning all the pieces. But your posture right now is not to chase the clock. It's to embrace the call. You must shift from counting time to trusting timing. There is a difference. When the appointed time arrives, everything changes without your effort. What didn't work before suddenly works. What was closed suddenly opens. That's how God works. He sets a moment in motion, and when you walk into it, grace takes over where your grind used to be. That's why you can't force the future. You can't manipulate the promise into being. You must wait until the timing of God meets the faithfulness of your preparation. That's when favor flows freely. Until then, your job is not to make it happen. It's to stay faithful, stay ready, and stay in position. Seeds don't grow because we scream at them. They grow because we trust the soil, the sun, and the season. You've planted, you've watered. Now wait for God's appointed rain. So many people abort the mission too soon because they misinterpret the wait as denial. But in the kingdom, delay is never denial, it's often development. It's not that God can't bless you early. It's that early blessings become burdens when we're not ready. You must learn to praise in preparation and worship in waiting. Don't waste this time pacing in worry. Use it to fortify your faith. Use it to deepen your character. Use it to build a foundation that can hold the weight of what's coming, because when the appointed time arrives, it will be more than you imagined. It will be pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The end of April is not just another date. It's a divine doorway. And if God has circled it in the spirit, then no demon in hell, no delay in life, no disappointment in your past can stop what He has already ordained. It's not a maybe, it's a mandate, and it's coming right on time. Before God reveals it, He prepares you for it. The warfare you faced wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You had to grow, to mature, to stretch. You had to develop the capacity to carry what's coming. Think of Joseph. His promise had a time stamp, but the prison was part of the process. Don't curse your preparation. It's the womb of your manifestation. Everything great in God is first forged in hidden places. He doesn't pour new wine into old wineskins because new blessings require new structures. If you've been feeling pressure, if you've been surrounded by uncertainty, it's not because you've been forgotten, it's because you're in formation. God is building you, molding you, chiseling you into a vessel that can hold what He's already declared over your life. You're not waiting on the blessing. The blessing is waiting on the version of you that's ready to carry it. Some people ask, why is it taking so long? But what they don't realize is that it's not time that's holding the blessing back, it's readiness. God loves you too much to give you something prematurely. A baby born before its due date can struggle to survive. Likewise, a blessing born before you're prepared to steward it can become a burden. God will not allow the thing meant to bless you to break you. So He stretches you, He confronts your ego, He challenges your thinking, He refines your character. That's not punishment, it's divine protection. David wasn't sent to Goliath straight from the pasture. First, he had to face the lion and the bear. God didn't send him to the palace before he had the strength to carry the crown. Even Jesus, before stepping into his public ministry, went through 40 days in the wilderness. Isolation, testing, preparation. Why? Because power without preparation becomes dangerous. But preparation produces wisdom, endurance, humility, and strength. And that is what sustains your success once the doors open. Sometimes God allows closed doors not because He's rejecting you, but because He's refining you. He knows that if you got everything you prayed for right now, you might not be able to hold it, maintain it, or manage it. He's not just interested in giving you a breakthrough. He's building a foundation that won't collapse under the weight of your destiny. And that takes time, that takes pressure, that takes pain. So don't resent the process. Don't despise the season of obscurity. You're not buried, you're being planted. There's a difference. What you call a delay, heaven calls development. And when you finally walk into what God has prepared for you, you'll thank Him for every hard lesson, every lonely night, every unanswered prayer. Because now you see that none of it was wasted. He was preparing you for what He had already prepared for you. Manifestation doesn't come to the unprepared. And when it shows up in your life, you'll be able to say, I was made ready for this. God's plan for April's End is not automatic. It's activated by obedience. You can't casually walk into divine timing. You must respond to the instructions that come with it. Heaven doesn't just respond to emotion, it responds to alignment. Some doors have keys called obedience. Some mountains only move when you stop questioning and start trusting. It's not about how long you've been waiting. It's about whether you've done what He told you to do. Delayed obedience is still disobedience. You can't keep postponing what God has already commanded and then expect acceleration. The moment God speaks is the moment to act. Obedience is what turns spiritual potential into tangible power. It's the signal that tells heaven, I'm ready. It's the bridge between prophecy and reality. When He says, move, move, even when it doesn't make sense, even when the money isn't there, even when the people around you don't understand, God isn't looking for your logic. He's looking for your surrender. Faith isn't about feeling ready, it's about being willing. Some of the greatest breakthroughs don't come when you're comfortable. They come when you step into uncomfortable obedience. When He says forgive, you cannot hold on to offense and expect the oil of favor to flow freely. Bitterness will block what blessing wants to birth. Letting go isn't for them, it's for you. Some of the heaviness you're carrying isn't the devil, it's disobedience dressed in pride. When He says give, give, that seed might look like it's leaving your hand, but in the spirit, it's going into your future. You don't give to lose, you give to launch. There are breakthroughs that only respond to sacrifice. God doesn't need your money. He needs your heart. And He checks your heart through your willingness to release what you love. You can't receive a new season with old habits. The wineskin must match God will not pour fresh revelation into a resistant vessel. Transformation precedes promotion. You can't be crying for next level blessings with last season obedience. Some of us are praying for God to do more, but heaven is waiting for us to do the last thing He said. Obedience is the seed that triggers overflow. The river of favor flows where the soil is submitted. God's favor doesn't chase rebellion, it chases order. There's a release scheduled for the end of April, but it's only for those who are positioned. This is not the time to hesitate. This is not the time to negotiate with conviction. It's time to move, to act, to align. If you obey now, you won't miss what's been marked for you. This acceleration is waiting for your agreement. Don't just shout about the prophecy. Live in the posture that brings it to pass. God is not withholding the blessing. He's waiting on your yes. The moment you obey is the moment things begin to shift. You're mad about what didn't happen in March, but heaven is shouting praise because you avoided disaster. What looked like rejection was divine redirection. God shut it down to set you up. He had to block certain relationships, pause certain opportunities because they didn't match your future. The end of April isn't just a new chapter, it's a new strategy. You see, what we call disappointment, God often calls deliverance. You were about to walk through a door that looked good on the outside but was loaded with compromise on the inside. You were getting ready to connect with someone whose presence would have poisoned your purpose. You cried over it. You questioned it, but the silence of March was God's loudest act of mercy. He saw what you couldn't. He heard conversations you weren't privy to. He discerned intentions you were blinded to by emotion. And because He loves you too much to let your calling collapse under the weight of your comfort, He closed it, not to harm you, but to help you breathe again. That door had to close so you could finally walk through the one He really designed for you. God is not interested in pleasing your feelings. He's invested in fulfilling your destiny. He won't let you build your future on broken foundations. That job you didn't get, that contract that fell through, that relationship that walked out without notice, that silence wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It was God clearing the path so nothing contaminates what He's preparing to release in your life. Because what's coming at the end of April is too sacred to be shared with what you are about to settle for. The anointing on your life is too weighty to be handled by people who only see your surface and not your spirit. The level of favor that's about to find you requires a level of separation that most won't understand, but God does. And that's why He said no. That's why He let them walk. That's why He allowed the door to close without warning. Not because you were forgotten, but because you were being guarded. You've been asking why, you've been frustrated in the delay. But let this be your revelation. It wasn't a delay. It was a detour to safety. He rerouted you so you wouldn't crash. He disrupted your calendar to preserve your calling. The detour was the destiny. The rejection was the proof that He's still involved. And as you move toward the end of this month, don't keep looking back at what you thought should have been. Let it go. Let them go. Close the chapter that God has already ended. Because if it were part of your purpose, it wouldn't have left so easily. God doesn't subtract without intention. He subtracts so He can multiply. What's waiting for you on the other side of April isn't just another opportunity. It's a divine orchestration. He's positioning the right people, the right resources and the right timing, but you've got to trust him enough to stop crying over the door he shut and start rejoicing over the one he's opening. What you thought was over was actually God saying, this is where I begin. When God moves, he moves fast. Suddenly things change. Suddenly favor comes. Suddenly what was stuck breaks open. Acts 2:2 says, and suddenly there came a sound from heaven. Your suddenly is scheduled. By the end of April, watch for unusual favor, divine alignments, and supernatural reversals. Don't just hope, expect it. Praise like it's already done. This is not the season to be passive or casual with your expectation. This is the season to stand with spiritual posture and declare, I'm ready. Because God is not slow, he is strategic. He's not delayed, he is deliberate. And when he says suddenly, it doesn't mean randomly. It means it's been in motion behind the scenes, building momentum until the moment is right. When it shows up in your life, it may feel like it happened overnight, but heaven has been working on it for years. Suddenly doesn't mean instantly formed, it means instantly revealed. And when it's time to be revealed, nothing can stop it. Not people, not systems, not even your past mistakes. You've been faithful in the dark, and now God is about to reward you in the light. You've cried in silence, but your celebration will be public. What you've endured privately, God will use to elevate you publicly. That's the power of a suddenly moment. It bypasses protocols, defies expectations, and shuts the mouths of doubters. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for approval. It shows up and changes everything. Get ready to go from overlooked to overbooked. Get ready to go from waiting to walking into what God promised you. He's about to do in days what you thought would take years. But hear me clearly, you must partner with the shift. You cannot bring old fear into a new season. You cannot drag yesterday's doubt into today's doorway. There is a prophetic window opening, and those who are tuned in by faith will walk into it with boldness. That means your language has to shift, your posture has to shift, your circle may even need to shift. You cannot expect the supernatural. You got to guard your atmosphere, because God responds to faith, not fear. He moves where there is hunger, not hesitation. By the end of April, you're going to look back and say, only God could have done this. Don't measure your future by your current frustration. Don't judge your destiny by today's discomfort. God specializes in turning dry places into rivers, in making a way where there was none. Your breakthrough is already on the calendar of heaven. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And God said it's now. Praise before you see it. Worship before it shows up. Rejoice like the door is already open. Because faith is the evidence of things not seen. Expect the sudden shift. It's closer than you think. This isn't hype, it's heaven's headline. God didn't forget you. He didn't fail you. He scheduled a release, and it's marked with your name. Lift your head, shake off the doubt. By the end of April, you'll testify that what the enemy said was over, God resurrected. What was hidden will be revealed. What was delayed will be delivered. Trust the timing the King has spoken. It's all planned.